Well,
Hey, what's up?
okay. Just want to go over pulling three today.
Okay.
So the last of the problems I have left.
Hmm.
I sent over my summaries too, so I don't know whenever you have some, you want to check them out one time sometime.
Got it.
But yeah,
Hmm.
um,
Is
this
the
is the
question?
first question. Yeah.
Uh-huh. So, what is convergent evolution?
It's one like let's say like two organisms. They're different,
Okay.
and over time they get some sort of trait that
Yep.
is similar between them.
Okay. So maybe you didn't know the difference between like a dolphin and a shark, like how they're not the same species.
I mean, like, is that the answer?
Uh-huh.
Damn. Okay, I put that at first. I had that like as the answer until
Yeah.
2 minutes before.
So, I just want like earlier today, I just had went over the same question with the student, and he didn't know like that a dolphin like tell me about like I just want to so like do you understand that like a dolphin and a shark are not really similar? Like
Well, yeah. I mean, the shark is like different from a dolphin. Yeah. I
like
just
like a
well,
dolphin's a mammal,
okay.
right? So, you could also think about like if you could ask the question, does it have gills? Like a fish and a shark could be classified as something like a fish, like has gills, so it has to like live in the water, right?
Mhm.
So its tail is like a fish's tail and a shark's tail is going to look like this.
Yeah.
But a dolphin or a whale, it would be like this, right?
Hmm.
And if you think about it, that means that, like, why is it like that? It means that they can go up and down and come up to the surface to breathe oxygen, right?
Hmm.
So like if you didn't know like a dolphin and shark were not, related like that, you can think, okay, a shark has gills like a fish, it doesn't need to go up and, take in oxygen like from the air. Whereas a dolphin and a whale, their tails go up and down so they can go up to the surface and, take in some oxygen from the air
So what is it that they share? What trait?
that they can swim and have flippers and stuff like that. So the idea, yeah. So it's just like a bat and a bird is another example. They both have wings, they both can fly, but they're not part of the same, what I mean, right?
Hmm.
Whereas a goat and a sheep are really the same thing. Um, and a polar bear and a panda bear, they're just different types of bears. And then D is like literally the same type of moth. So dolphin and shark, yeah, because they're not coming from the same, ancestry. Mhm. Genetically different, dolphin being a mammal, shark being a fish, and but they have similar, structures, so that's convergent. Yep. So, yeah, what were you thinking when you did that?
I mean, as I said, I put A at first, and this is flagged. I went back to it and I switched it to B.
So
I don't
what?
know why. I don't know. Like, I just thought that
Uh-huh.
like a sheep and yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't really know.
Got it.
I I just didn't think it was A like when I looked at it again. It was not
Got it.
the greatest switch.
Okay, okay.
All right, this is next.
Assume that a certain species with sex chromosomes R and S. exists such that RR individuals develop as males, and it's like kind of like the opposite with XX and XY. Okay, RS develop as females. Which of the following mechanisms would most likely compensate for the potential imbalance of sex chromosome gene products between males and females of the species? So this is also something that happens, in humans, where because if you think about it, like,
Bar body?
what's up?
Bar body? Or no?
Um, Maybe I kind of forgot, but
Okay.
um, yeah, I forgot what that was actually, but it could be that. But I guess like so if you're thinking about a female with XX and a male with XY, and a Y really isn't it's like a really a messed up version of X. So wouldn't females have double the genetic material as males? Like that's what would happen if it wasn't for inactivating uh one of them. In order for the amount of genetic material to be the same. So like you get that with XX undergoes inactivation, so it can have the same number, same amount of genetic material as XY. So here it's just going to be the opposite. So, uh, yeah, it should be inactivation of the R in males.
Wait, but like I don't understand. There would be R and S in females, and then it would only be R in males. Like there would still be like the S would make it there'd be more, no?
Well, that's why the inactivation happens, because otherwise the males in this scenario would have double the content, genetic content as females because they have two R's. And yeah, the bar body is what you're saying. Um, I think, yeah, inactivated X chromosomes found in female mammals. So yeah, that's the idea. So the idea is if you have too much like XX, you can inactivate one of them. So now this one is just RR, and you can inactivate that.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is like, okay, you inactivate one of the R's, so just one of the R's is active, the other is inactive. But in the other, like in the female, there would be R and S. So wouldn't that be double the amount? Because the S
Oh.
is expressed and the R is expressed.
Yeah, so I guess maybe there, well, let me see. So because we for X and Y, we know that Y is just a broken version of X, right? So that means that if you have XX, you have double, the like you would have double the genetic material from having that extra X chromosome that the Y chromosome wouldn't have, right? So this is just the same thing. So the RR, like I guess they didn't tell you that, S is just like a broken version of R, but that's I guess implied, and that would mean that the males have an extra R chromosome that females don't have. And so in order for the imbalance between the genetic material, like to balance it back, you should see an inactivation of one of the R chromosomes in the male. And if it was in humans, it would be an activation of one of the X chromosomes in the female. Right? So like we're not considering the S chromosome to be like its own thing with genes and all that stuff. We're considering the X chromosome, sorry, the R chromosome to be like the X chromosome and the Y chromosome to be like the S chromosome. and the Y chromosome is basically a broken version of the X. So the S chromosome we can say is a broken version of the R. So RR should have double genetic material, but since it doesn't, it means that it inactivated one of the R chromosomes.
Okay.
Mhm. Yep.
Just to confirm, so with the adrenal medulla, like um it's not part of the HP axis, right? Like the cortex is,
Hmm.
but the medulla isn't.
Uh, um, yeah, yeah. The hypothalamic, pituitary, adrenal, and then for adrenal, yeah, they mean adrenal cortex because they're talking about like the cortisol and stuff like that. So, yep. Whereas a medulla is for like epinephrine, things like that.
Why is it part of only sympathetic?
Well, the adrenal medulla releases the epinephrine, right, which acts in the sympathetic nervous system is when you activate that fight or flight response. That happens from epinephrine and norepinephrine.
So how about adrenal cortex? Is it part of sympathetic and parasympathetic
Eh,
or none?
really, I mean, like, cortisol can happen when you're whatever stressed out and all that. Uh, but yeah, rest and digest versus fight or flight. Yeah, it's not going to really be uh, any of those.
Okay, next is this. I mean, I wanted to go over this past or only over this problem. I don't know if maybe you could like glance over the passage.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I've seen this morning with
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
first student today, who did the same test. So this is because that protein synthesis already started, like when they added the radioactive amino acids. Like the protein was already in the process of being made. So the radioactive amino acids should only be uh, you know, at one end of the molecule, right?
Okay, can I explain to you my reasoning? Because I think my reasoning was wrong. I got this right, but I think my reasoning was wrong. So the way I thought about it is at time zero, they added the amino acids that were radio labeled, right? And they were added onto the peptide chain. But then after 50 seconds, like the rest of it was non-radioactive. So I thought that on the end, closer to like the end terminal on the left, where it just started, all of the radio labeled amino acids were there. And then after that, the rest were all non-radio labeled, non-radioactive.
Sure. But they are, and it's ironic because usually you say like, okay, we don't need to use a passage for this one. But for this one, yeah, we're not talking about what we're doing in the passage. We're saying
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We're saying here that assume that protein synthesis was already happening, right? When the radioactive amino acids were added. That's what they're asking about. Okay. So that means that, the AUG, the start codon, and there's already some proteins that have been made, right? When you start to add the radioactive amino acids. So there's no way that this could be like at the front of the polypeptide, right?
So why wouldn't it be in the middle?
Well, it's gonna just be on one end, which we can say is the middle, but for the choices here that say metal, it's middle, it says not at either end, right? It's gonna be so here. This is the thing, right? This is the start, this is the end, and this is the middle. The middle is kind of arbitrary, to be honest, but it's gonna be like this, like the middle or the end that gets the incorporates the radioactive amino acids, right?
Hmm.
So like at whichever stage the radioactive amino acids are added will start to become incorporated. So, so that means it's going to be at one end.
Yeah.
And if you say like if you say one end, it doesn't mean like it's just here. Like this entire thing can be considered one end, right?
Yeah.
The middle, that's like the middle here is like arbitrary. So the choices that do include the middle, though, have other things in it that make it wrong. Like, for instance, C is saying it's wrong, not in the middle, but it's wrong because it says it's at both ends. It's not going to be at the starting end. And then D says the middle, but not at either end. That's wrong because it's going to be at the end, right?
I have this thing where like I sometimes
Hmm.
I guess like I don't give myself enough credit maybe.
Yeah.
And like cause because with honestly with this section,
Uh-huh.
with this exam, BB and CP, I did not think I would do like as well as I did.
Uh-huh.
And obviously like part of the test is just eliminating the wrong answers,
Hmm.
like getting to the right answer by eliminating. But like I just feel like I get too lucky, you know what I mean? But at a certain point, I mean, like I guess I'm just getting better at taking the test too. Like do you get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah. And you saw that in a lot of our sessions where I didn't really know what to do, but I made like the right guesses because when you're at the level where you are now, it's like to get like the really high scores and stuff, like it can really come down to like guessing, but being a good guesser. And that really, I mean, I shouldn't say a good guesser, but I should say that when you what I said before, which is when you run out of options, like if you don't know what the answer is, then you're gonna have to just, use some logic, recognize some patterns, things like that. So things might seem like you're getting lucky in terms of guessing, but that's part of it, right? Because it's like it doesn't mean so like if you are 100% sure that something's the right answer, and we can say that that's 0% guessing, most problems you're not going to be 100% sure of an answer being right. So there's going to be an element of or a percentage that is like how certain you are for something that you're guessing. Um, so yeah, is that what you're trying to say? Like some
kinda, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Um, and this.
Okay. Large amounts of protein are found in the urine of a patient. Based on this information, which portion of the nephron is most likely malfunctioning? Okay. What's the portion of the nephron that filters, the protein from the rest of the stuff in the blood?
Well, I know the answer is C, so I'm gonna say glomerulus.
Hmm.
Um, what I just thought is I I was a little confused because they say malfunctioning. If the glomerulus is malfunctioning,
Hmm.
wouldn't that mean the protein would not be in the blood?
Well, the glomerulus is pushing all the blood like through the filter of the Bowman's capsule,
Yeah.
and it does not allow like large proteins to travel through the filter. Like
Mhm.
it filters out here. Okay. Okay. Open this picture. Yeah. So on the left you have the glomerulus, and then on the right you have your Bowman's capsule, and this is where the filtration happens. So you can see these like large sized ones that could be like blood cells or whatever. They can't pass through. Um I guess like these are some other things that can't pass through, but like essentially these um water, glucose, amino acids, wastes, they can pass through and like through to the Bowman's capsule into like the tubular system of the nephron. But like these proteins that are like medium sized or negative molecules or large things like blood cells, they cannot pass through. So, so if we find a bunch of this protein in your urine, it means that, yeah, there's an issue happening. There's a malfunction here at the glomerulus to Bowman's capsule.
Uh-huh. And what is the distal convoluted tube? Like, what does that mean? Like filter? Is it just like the dump the hunk stuff? We spoke about this before. Um,
Yeah, so
but
throughout the rest of the nephron, you will have like predominantly in the convoluted tubules of the proximal as well as the distal, like you're going to have a lot of reabsorption happen. And then in like the loop of Henle and collecting duct, as you go down into the medulla of the kidney, you're entering into like a higher salt um concentration, like or environment rather. So you could have a lot of filtration, a lot of like water can be reabsorbed and stuff like that. But basically, aside from this renal corpuscle, aka like glomerulus Bowman's capsule, that's where the filtration happens. And then you can have like either, things getting reabsorbed back into the blood or getting secreted into the what turns in the filtrate, which turns into the urine.
uh,
Yeah, so you can see that the distal tubule reabsorbing solutes and water from the filtrate, um, primarily responsible for like these no proteins and the loop of Henle ions and water, not proteins, and a pure collecting duct can also concentrate the filtrate by reabsorbing uh, the water. That's done with ADH. So,
uh, that's it for today.
okay,
Yeah, yeah.
awesome. So yeah, it'll just be what 32.5.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yep. Take care.
6. Bye.